Hi, this is Dr. Lex number 9. This is where I answer your comments in the form of short tutorial videos. So the 3 videos we've got today is how to sculpt curves. There are various methods. I'll go through a few of them in the video. Start menu, the D-pad version. People are trying to add multiple menus to it and finding that it's not working. That's because it's designed to work with 2 menus only, and it needs tweaking a little bit so that you can add multiple menus. I didn't realise that when I made it. That's my mistake. So I will be adding a link to the to this tutorial in the original page. So if you aren't familiar with that tutorial, then this part of the video might be a little bit like, I don't know what's going on, but it's an amendment to a previous tutorial. The third one is inverting Y in first person. Now this is very specific to the media molecule first person character model. So this is not going to help you out if you're building your first person camera from scratch. This is only how to invert Y with the media molecule pre-built character model. Enjoy the video. Right, I've been asked about how to sculpt curved objects. There are various methods that you can use. So first of all, we're going to sculpt mode, and the obvious one is to actually pick the curve tool. Now if you're not familiar with this, you may think, oh, it's just a sphere. But if you go L1 and square and go into the stamp shape tool, you'll see that there is a little double-ended arrow here, and if I pull up, we can make a tube. And then we've got all of these extra arrows here. This is this end, this is this end, so that pulling these will lengthen it. But these in the middle are like handles, and you can pull up and down and you can create a double curve like this. It's a pity actually that they haven't developed this curve tool a little bit more. I mean, a few more handles would be very welcome, and then you could have all sorts of lovely wiggly shapes. But as it is, this is you can only have 2 curves, or like a single curve, like so. So this is how you make a lovely curved shape, pretty simply. And the handles on the ends, that can make bigger or smaller, so you can get some interesting shapes like this. And don't forget, this is now a shape tool, so if I put it into smear mode, we have a tool now that's curved and can create really interesting shapes. So you can get some really interesting, it's like a brain shape thing here. It's a little heavy on the thermo, but not too bad. Like that. And then this is the sort of methods that you can let's get a square. I've cut out an interesting shape there. Look, like that. Look at that. There's all sorts of things you can do. So that's how you do a curve with the curve tool. The other method is to take your object, plonk it down, L1, R2, hold R2, have it in your hand, then press left on the D-pad and create loads of clones. So the idea here is to create as many clones until you can't really see all those little separate objects. That'll do. And if I hold L2 and then still holding R2, so L2 and R2, and then push up on the right stick, you can see you can curve or the left stick, you can curve with either, and you can create interesting shapes like this. Again, you might want to put some more clones in just to smooth this off. It's really difficult. There is a point at which, you know, you're not going to be able to smooth it exactly. So you might have to reduce the size of it. You can also reduce the end size, so you get things like this, just like you did with the curve tool. But this is not a shape. This is a sculpt, which is different to a shape. You can't smear with this. So what you're making here is your finished item. So this is rather good for snake type things. Close up, you know, you can't see the lines, but further away you can't see the lines. There is a point when you can see it, so it's it is a method. Let's scope out, and now we've got our nice curvy object. That's rather good. Elephant tusk there. There we are. It's the start of an elephant. You don't have to just use spheres, obviously. You can use all sorts of shapes. Here's a cone. So this is a good way of creating all sorts of weird and wonderful shapes. I think this is how people that make these wonderful kaleidoscope visualizers for music, this is the way they go on. You can see, look, you can get some really amazing shapes. And curves and what have you by cloning. There we go, there's an interesting shape. Look at that. So you can experiment with making curves. Just try the cloning method, try fiddling about with the curve tool. There's probably other ways of creating curves. I mean, you can cut them out. So if I do this, right, you can cut into this like this, so you can make your curvy shape by literally cutting away at things. And that wasn't a very good example, but there we go, there's a nice curve. So you can cut away at things and make curves. Trying to get the opposite of this, though, you might want to use the cropping and cutting out tools. So we're going to make a curved shape here like this. There we go. There we are. We've created a nice curve. I mean, if I'd spend more time on it, you can move these around. So you can get, there we go. You can get a really nice curvy shape. So all shapes are available in Dreams. It's just a way of it's getting to that shape that's the difficult part. But that's a great method to create a curve as well. And that's quite low thermo, that method. Right, I've had a few comments on my menu tutorial that it doesn't work and that it keeps activating doorways and all sorts of things. And it's because people are trying to add in more than 2 menus. This is designed to work on 2 menus. Now, I didn't realise when I built it that if I try to add a 3rd menu, the whole thing just collapses like a house of cards. The whole thing does not work when you try to add more than 2 menus. Basically because there's this selector thing here, and also because there is, when you use move to next output, there's a delay in the frame. If you start adding things in and you have to go directly to the selector, there's no delay, and what happens is you push a button press on one menu, and the remnants of that button press, if you like, when you get to the next menu, carries over, so it presses it again. It reacts twice on both menus, which may cause a doorway to activate, or it may cause you to go back to the menu that you were on previously. So it's not working properly. So we need to rejig this entire thing. So if you've already built one of these from my previous tutorial, I'll put a link in the description. And you want to add an extra menu, this is what you need to do. So first of all, let's I've got an area here. Let me just sort out these cameras, because I didn't do this earlier and it annoyed me. I need to zoom in so we just get the green, and I need to zoom in so we just get the blue. There we go. Right, so I've got a new area over here for my new menu, so I need to make a new menu. So I'm going to copy this menu here. This won't make any sense to you if you haven't done the previous tutorial, but stick with me. Okay, so this is going to be menu 3. And we'll just open that up and we'll change this camera so that it's on this brown color over here. So there we go. So that's our menu 3. And then we need to change the name of the page here to, oops. Let's start that again. Menu 3. Right. Okay, so that's our menu 3. So that's ready to go. So I've got a chip already done for our new menu. Now I need to add it to our new main menu. Add it to this. So we're going to copy exit, and I'm going to type in menu 3. And we'll copy that keyframe, and I'm going to wire up right, I'm going to wire up D. So we're going to add an extra option to here. So what was previously C is now going to be D, and we've got 2 keyframes. Let me just go into this, and so this is the one wired to D. So we want it to just do the exit. So I just pressed triangle over the C. This one, so L1 and NX to change it. So this one is just going to be menu 3 and not the text displayer. So I'll press triangle over that. There we go, done. I now need an AND gate. So this AND gate is for D, so I'll move that down. We need an AND gate for C now. So we wired that up like the others. Right, so we've got our new option for C. And we've now got our menu. Now we need to change our master. Now, before we were using the move to next output because it was just going backwards and forwards like this. That isn't going to work. Now we've got a third menu. So we're going to add a third menu in. So make the selected option 3. This isn't going to work anymore. So we'll just delete these wires because we don't want to go ABC, ABC, ABC. We want to go ABA or ACA. So we can't use that anymore. We now have to go directly to each of these. So we'll go to our main menu. This is our first option, which is to go to menu B. Menu B. There we go. That's our controls menu. And this one goes to menu 3, which is C, like that. Now, before I go any further, let me tell you this is not going to work. So I'm just going to delete those. And that's what we want to do. But because we're going to be wiring directly into the selector, there's no delay for pushing buttons. There's not enough of a delay. So what happens is you push the button and in one menu, and that carries over into the next menu and selects it in that menu as well. So you end up either setting off doorways if you don't want to, or going back to the menu previously. So we're going to need to put some sort of buffer in between these links. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a timer. I'll give it 0.2 seconds. That's enough. And I need one of these for each of our menus. So that one's going to A, that one is going to B, and that one is going to C. Right, we need to wire C to our new menu. It's power. There we go. Right, now then. So our first option here, that's going to be, so we go to B. This next option is going to C. So we go to C. And this is the return AND gate. So that's going to A. And then there's another return AND gate here. That is also going to A. Right, and now we also want our menus to go up to the top option. So A is going to be wired back to A. B is going to be wired back to A on there. That menu, did I close this one off? I did. C is going to be wired to the A of that menu. So every time you go into the menu, it's going to be the first option. And that should be it. Let's have a look. So we've got, no, I didn't move. Okay, hang on then. I didn't move our exit. Let's move it down. There we go. Right, start, controls, menu, exit. So I can scroll through these. Let's try our new menu, shall we? Pick. That's the brown. Return, and return to green. There we go. Controls, blue. Return, return to green. And there we go. That's now working. And you can add as many menu options as you can, as you like. Obviously, I haven't put in how to get rid of the imp. Let me just do that now. Global settings. Imp gone. So now we know it's just the D-pad and we're not confused and thinking that we need to select anything without imp. Right, so inverting Y. For those of you not familiar with the term, it's whether or not when you push up on the right stick, whether your character looks up or looks down. Now, I have it set to what I would regard as normal setup. So you push up and he looks up, and push down and he looks down. But people that play a lot of flight sims and the like want it to be inverted so that when they push up on the D-pad, the character looks down. Now, if you like this method for dreams and for most setups, then you can click it on here. Go into controls, camera, invert your camera here, and now when I push up, he's going to look down, and then push down, he's going to look up. That's fine for quite a few games, except for first-person games where the camera isn't controlled in dreams. It's programmed in specially. So people go, oh, I can't invert. I've set my cameras to invert, and they don't invert in your game. Please put in invert camera. Right. So if you're making a first-person game, you want to invert the camera. Now, depending on how you have set up your camera for your first-person game and what microchip and what have you that you've used, you will need to do different things. And because you've made your camera setup, only you can really invert it, which is why people are not giving the information when you ask, how do I invert Y? And nobody seems to know. However, if, like most people, you're building a first-person game and you use Media Molecule's first-person character, it is much, much simpler to do. So let's do that. So we're going to search. I'm going to pick Media Molecule's first-person character. Here it is. And we're going to play mode. And you can see, you see this a lot where the displays text is up there. And if I look up, he looks up. And if I look down, he looks down. If I go into settings and invert my camera, like so, go back into my game. If I look up, he looks up. If I look down, he looks down. It hasn't inverted the camera because that's not controlled in Dreams. It's the microchip that controls the camera. So how do we invert the view? Well, luckily for us, Media Molecule thought about this and they built it into the puppet. And it's easy to miss. It's up here. Invert Y controller. It is a switch. It's a little toggled switch. Okay. Now, what this does is a little bit of a mystery to me because they use keyframes and things, and so it's a little bit difficult to understand how they've inverted the Y. But you don't need to understand how it happens, just that it happens. So if I toggle this on and I go into my game, if I push up on the D-pad, he's looking down now. So I've inverted the Y for this puppet. But that's true for everybody that plays. Not everybody wants to invert. I mean, I absolutely hate it if I go into a game and it's all inverted. So you want to be able to give the player the option to turn it on and off themselves. So let's turn it off now. So the default is off. And we'll open up logic processing. And then we'll open up the controller logic. What we're going to do is we're going to put in a toggle switch. So we'll open up the controller sensor and we're going to use the triangle, and I'm going to put in a signal manipulator. I'm going to wire the triangle into the signal manipulator, and I'm going to choose custom remapper and toggle on. Then I'm going to wire that into our switch. There we go. So now when you press the triangle, it's going to toggle on this switch. So at the moment I push up, he looks up. I'm going to press triangle. I'm going to push up. He's looking down. There we go. I push triangle again. I push up. He's looking up. So there we go. We've created our toggle. But we've got to tell the player that that's an option. So we need to go to display controls, which is here. And we need to add a new text displayer. So let's select it, move that down to there. And we just need to change this text. Triangle, invert Y. There we go. So now when we play, we have the option to invert the Y. And there we go. We've inverted the Y, and then we've inverted it by back again. There we go. It's that simple. So you don't really need to know how it's working. Just to show you why I'm not even remotely sure how this is done. If we go into camera controls, this is what this is feeding into. It's feeding into this. There's a green wire. See this green wire? That goes into there and comes out of here. And this goes into a keyframe, which says remap thresholds. And if we select that, it's doing something to this signal manipulator. Like that, see? It's doing something. How you get that, or what is being done there, I really don't know. So it's yeah, no clue as to how that is being done, how that has been manipulated, what that means, or anything else. So I can't really help, and don't really know what all of this is doing. It's a little bit advanced for me. So, but you don't need to know how it's working. Just know that Media Molecule has solved you all the problem, and there it is. And all you need to do is add that toggle switch in, and you're golden. Of course, if you're using somebody else's first-person camera setup, then that's not going to work. That's not going to be there. So good luck with that. But there you go. There's how to invert Y if you're using the first-person character model by Media Molecule. Right, that was Dr. Lex number 9. I hope there was something in there that you found useful. As always, if you've got a tutorial request, leave it in the comments. I try to answer as many of these as I possibly can with some text. Some of them are suitable for Dr. Lex videos. I can't guarantee that I will always make a tutorial from your request. Some of them are a little bit complicated. Some of them I might not even know the answer to. So, but do continue to put in your requests. I try to get through as many of them as possible. Please, though, I do not do bug fixes on individual people's games. I don't go in and collab on your game in order to fix your bugs. If I said I would do that, then that is all I would do day in, day out, and I never get to do anything else. So I thank you for having trusted me that I would be able to fix your bug, but I'm afraid I do not collab on other people's projects. So please don't send me your collab requests. Right, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in your dreams.